It is officially day 0 of AnimeCon Manchester. I am very excited. Milo is here with me as well. Are you excited, Milo? He is of course not coming, so he's not excited. But yes, it is day 0. I am personally quite excited. So we're actually back at the Manchester Convention Centre today, which is where I had my first con at. So excited to be back there. A little bit nervous because not sure what to expect with it being a new con. And it is a brand new con as well. It's not happened before. So yeah, ready and raring to go. I've got all of my stuff here, suitcases and things. We're going to pack up the car. And then we've got a few jobs that we need to go and do, a few things that we need to go and pick up before we actually head off to the convention centre at about 2 p.m. to start setting up. So yeah, let's go. So setup was a little bit more difficult than I was initially anticipating. I had planned for just the 6-foot table, which I was incredibly grateful for anyway, because my last con was actually a 4-foot setup, so this already was so much more space. However, having the extra table initially was quite scary because I had only brought enough grid panels, or I thought I had, for the 6-foot setup. However, we managed to make it work, and because I could have a little bit of the extra space, I could actually build the grid panels all the way across and connect it to that block that you can see there where my croc charms are and my sticker board is balancing on top of. But you will see me here just playing around a little bit, just trying to problem solve, think about where my checkout window was going to be, and just keep referring back to the photo references that I had from when I did the mock setup at home. Overall, it turned out really well, and I was really happy with the height and everything of the store. Hello, it is a couple of days after the con. It's actually Tuesday now. As you can probably hear in my voice, I kind of have got a very hoarse, husky voice, so please excuse that. It is the aftermath of a con weekend. What can I say about AnimeCon Manchester? With it being the first time that it has been held there, the first event for AnimeCon in Manchester, I thought it went really, really well. I had a great time. I had fantastic booth neighbours, shout out to them. I also met lots of lovely people. I ran my first stamp rally with Bessie, and yeah, and that did really, really well as well, considering it was my first time running it and it was our first time doing a stamp rally together. So I had a really, really good time. In terms of logistics and numbers, so as you'll have seen in the video, when I arrived for setup on Friday and they allowed us to come in at 2, which was really, really generous, I found that I was on a corner. I didn't know that we were going to have the 2 tables, so lots of us that ended up being put on the corners, because we could see it on the floor map, the floor plan, but we didn't know that we were going to have an extra table there. For lots of us, we were quite confused whether we could use the tables or not. So maybe it would have been good to have had that communicated before. However, we made it work, and it worked out quite well for me, and I was very, very grateful for it because it meant that I had the live illustration set up. So I felt very, very grateful to have had that corner spot in the end. And it definitely meant that I ended up getting commissions, and I literally felt like I didn't stop painting all weekend. Even when I wasn't doing a commission, I was painting something, and then somebody wanted to buy the character that I was illustrating. So that was really, really good, and it meant that my time was just completely creatively filled all weekend, which was just absolutely fantastic for me. AnimeCon's tables are competitively quite expensive when compared to other cons that are either 2 or 3 day events. So this particular con was a 2-day event. It was an incredibly high table fee for Artist Alley. However, I noticed that they really tried to put things in place to help. The staff were absolutely lovely. They were coming around, they were checking, seeing how things were doing. The organizer came and introduced himself. We got given a couple of little gifts from them as well, which I hadn't experienced at any events or conventions before, which I thought was a really nice touch added. And even down to things like the badge that we were given and the lanyard, it was really high quality and just really, really lovely, and it was all nice, and I felt very official being there. Now, considering the high price and the fact it was a 2-day con, revenue wise it wasn't the strongest event overall for me, especially when compared to 1-day markets that I do where I can potentially take more than I took sadly at AnimeCon. But you know, all expenses were covered, more than expenses were covered, and we were profiting in by the end of day 1 into day 2, which, you know, I can't complain at. A profit is a profit. However, it has made me think whether I'm going to rebook, because it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of time for potentially not great returns. However, I'm not completely ruling it out. I've not yet rebooked on. I was umming and ahhing about booking for Dublin for their first event this year. However, with it being my first official year of doing cons more frequently, still very new to the Artist Alley scene and still not getting onto a lot of other major cons because of how competitive it is. It's just maybe not the right time for me to start exploring international cons. That might be something that comes a little bit later on down in my journey, and it's something I would absolutely love to explore, as I would love to be traveling and working on the road. I had a great time though, regardless of revenue, regardless of profits, everything else. I had such a good time. I always love going to cons. I love meeting everybody. Everybody that I met was so lovely and so kind and so complimentary of my art. Day 1, I think because I was so focused on making back the table cost, I almost lost sight of what it's all about. And then going into day 2, when I had that pressure lifted, everybody was just amazing, so complimentary of my art style, which to me is crazy because I don't even feel like I have a style. I am still so new in my artist journey, and so to have people compliment me, my art, my potato people illustrations, which are just so whimsical and silly, they just brought so much joy, I could see, to people, and it brought so much joy to me to see how much joy it was bringing, and I just had the best time. It's made me feel so excited to do more cons. I am gutted that I have not got another convention now until June, which is actually AnimeCon Birmingham, which I had already pre-booked, and that's a 3-day event, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, it's just made me want to do even more conventions, and it's made me determined to try and get into even more conventions. So if you have any tips on applications for conventions such as MCM, MegaCon, if you've got any suggestions of any conventions which I might not have even thought about applying for, or any smaller 1 or 2 day conventions that maybe you know of and you think are fantastic, please let me know, because it is something I want to explore even more. So if you have any suggestions, please put them in the comments below and let me know, because I will be so grateful for any advice that you've got. But for now, that has been AnimeCon Manchester, and I guess, I don't know when the next one will be, but I guess I'll see you in the next one.